Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to cover what I like to call the difference between, little die-cast cars. The difference between these two, other than the colors and what they are, is one of these is a Tootsie car, the other one is a Midget toy. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Midget was a brand that kind of came out to compete with Tootsie cars back in about the mid-70s going into the 80s. Some I think were produced during the 60s, but I don't remember absolutely for sure. But one thing I do know is there is a way to tell the difference between the two. If you notice, they're roughly the same size, so it's hard to tell which one's which. Eagle-eye person out there probably already knows which one's which here, but for people who don't know, I mean, obviously they are different vehicles, completely different vehicles, but that's okay. We're not here to talk about the vehicles we're here to talk about the differences of them. Midget toy used, like I said, the same type of die-cast metal that Tootsie toys did. So this one here is the Tootsie toy. If you notice, if you can look at the wheels are a little more detailed and defined. Like around the rim area, you can tell there's a lot of stuff there. Other than the fact, this one here's stamping is actually here underneath the rear axle. And these roll just as well as a Midget toy will. They roll pretty equally, depending on the style of the car and how well they're kept. Some of them tend to wear out more over time than others, depending on, like I said, how well they're kept. This one here literally says Midget toy underneath it, which is kind of fun. And pretty nice little cars. They are equal in kind of weight. This one is obviously a little lighter because it's a small little roadster versus a dump truck, but the build quality is about the same. The big way to tell, though, is if you look at the tires here on the Midget toy, the rim doesn't have much, but the tires themselves, you can see a little more, like deeper ribbing on the tire versus the Tootsie toy. Tootsie toy tends to have more detail in their tires than a Midget toy. Tootsie toy was pretty much like the bargain version of a Midget toy was pretty much the bargain version of a Tootsie toy. Kind of funny. But the crazy thing is Midget toy is probably more known for their trains. Midget toy did a lot of different styles of trains, and I will get around pretty soon and talk about those. But I actually really do like both of these kind of style cars equally, mainly because they work really well with the scaling I like to get into. I do like Hot Wheels scale, but every now and then I need something to be slightly smaller. And these are slightly smaller. They're not as small as your Micro Machines. Micro Machines, actually, I could fit a Micro Machine probably in the bed of this truck. And it's kind of funny, I think I can kind of fit the Midget toy back here too. Sort of. His little pins didn't stick out so far, he probably would sit down in there. But these toys were meant to be played with, and a lot of times these, you could play with these in the dirt and get these cleaned up pretty easily compared to a Hot Wheel. Hot Wheel's got too many crevices and stuff that can get down into like the passenger compartment and all that. These, it's a lot harder to get dirt all in there. Now these do tend to rust over time, just a heads up. These little pins here sometimes will rust, and it's not much you can really do about it. All it is the oxidation from just age. I rarely ever see these where they don't have any kind of rusting here at all. If you get a fiberglass pin, you can probably get rid of a lot of this, but that's okay. This in here was painted silver at one time, it looks like. so it's got a little bit of the paint work still left on it. And one thing about Midget Toy the paint tend to flake a lot easier on those than the Tootsie Toy. Tootsie Toy paint for some reason stuck a lot better. I don't know if it's a different kind of chemical paint they used. It could be a lead-based paint for all I know. I don't remember. Probably changed a lot throughout the years. Considering these guys were actually made to be little dollar store, cash register, quick grab toys from back in the day. You'd find these on just end cap sprues and stuff like that, just chilling there for kids to snag, because we saw these in grocery stores all the time. And it was mainly because they're a quick little toy to just pick up and, you know, gives the kid a lot of enjoyment. Be able to take the thing out of the package and play with it in the back seat or whatever, and you did, and lose this thing in the back seat. Well, it's gone, okay, until you clean out the car again. But back then, it was kind of a thing that was difficult to, you know, these things last. They really do. Like, the only thing I ever see that goes wrong with these is maybe missing a tire or the axles being bent. I rarely ever see these where they're broken. It takes a lot to break a Tootsie Toy, really. These are not a type of toy that's really easily broken. I kind of equivalent this to the Tonka truck of miniature cars, is what I kind of call it, because they're so well built. And the Midget Toy, I know the die-cast tend to be a little more, I'd say a little softer than the Tootsie Toy. That's one thing I noticed, because I've seen Tootsie Toys crack, where I've seen Midget Toys literally either bend or completely snap. That's one big difference I've actually seen throughout the years with these kind of toys, collecting them, because I really like the size of them. They're small, they're easily displayable, easily stored and put away, and they're not something that's, you know, hard to find, actually, because most of the time if you go to any place that's selling Hot Wheels, you'll probably end up running to at least one or two of these. And if you go to like Goodwills and stuff like that, they normally have these up in the front case, and it's usually train sets or the trucks with the trailers, because those are usually the harder ones to find. I do know that Tootsie Toy did make a train set, but the train set is not large scale, it's a smaller scale. And then there's a tinier scale version of the Tootsie Toy train that I've seen. To me, the best scale-wise would be your Midget Toy trains, which I do have one here to kind of show you a little bit of. And this one's a little more worse for wear. As you can tell, it's pretty well. It's so old that some of the paint here literally was trying to flake off on me the other day. But you can tell this kind of snapped off here across the front. This does happen over time. Maybe in a customizer, I'm probably just going to file this down here just to make this even, and then it won't look as bad. As you can tell, though, some of the bits and pieces here kind of cracked off. And the wheels on these tend to get a little wobbly sometimes, but you can tell if you look on the inside of this thing, it says Midget Toy, Rockford, Illinois. It's kind of hard to see in there, but it does say that. Really cool. And they roll pretty good. And like I said, scale-wise, if you're putting this train up against a dump truck, scale's really, really real. If you get the Tootsie Toy version, Tootsie Toy versions are like half the size of this, and I'm more into something being closer to scale. But that's one thing I wanted to kind of just talk about, because I like these little kind of cars and trucks, and I've always been into these smaller ones and the smaller, cheaper ones, because growing up I never had a whole lot of money either, and these were my kind of like toys. It was this or Hot Wheels, and usually if it was Hot Wheels, it wasn't actually Hot Wheels, it was like Speed Champs or the cheaper Matchbox, or the little crazy knockoff-y ones they had where the plastic bottom, but they looked real good, and heck, half of those, the doors open, and the Hot Wheel didn't, and it was cheaper. Go figure there. Can't figure out that one. you know, the cost-wise there, but just to kind of show you guys a little bit of the crazy stuff that I'm into, and talk a little bit about the difference between Tootsie Toy and your Midget toy, because there is a big mix-up out there between the two. I myself have even had to do a little bit of research myself, because I was like, are you sure it's not just all Tootsie Toy? And it's not. It literally is a toy line out there called Midget Toy that actually makes the trains. And the trains are a little more prominent in the Midget Toy line than the cars. I do know that they did there's a Jeep. There's also a pickup truck, I think, and then I think there's a tanker truck, something like that. There's a very limited amount of the smaller scaled Midget toys. There are larger Midget scale. There's larger toys for Midget scale. And if you look at the trucks do a lot different than the Tootsie Toy style. They're more this style where the wheels are actually all covered by whatever the body is for the semi trucks and such. So it's a kind of a dead giveaway when it comes to seeing a Midget toy versus the Tootsie Toy style, because Tootsie Toy style always had the wheels exposed and the Midget toy ones don't. So if you're out there trying to look for just the difference between these kind of toys, that's usually what you do. These guys are kind of a cheaper antique type of toy, but they're still really fun. They're great for background displays. They're great just to have as, you know, even like a set prop or something like that, especially if you're doing stop motion or anything. They're amazing for all these kind of things because they're inexpensive. They're pretty sturdy little toys, and you don't have to worry so much about problems with them. If you're trying to paint match to make them all perfect, I mean, you can do that and repaint them. I mean, I personally think if you have one like this one that's in worse for wear like this, I'm probably going to go through and try to do something to remove a lot of this paint. This paint on this one is flaking like crazy. If you hadn't noticed, the table here's got more yellow paint on it because this guy has seen some days, and I do happen to have the other two, well, two more pieces of it. It's the passenger car and then the rear diner caboose. And they're really cool. I do like these. I'm really into the train sets. The train sets are probably my favorite. But I just like these things in general. You know me, I'm going to do some kind of custom thing with these because that's usually what I do with certain kinds of toys. But anyway, this has been Plasticon. This is me signing off. Peace out, y'all. I'll see you around because I have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye.